What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder had an interview, and this is volume 2. You know, this is the continuation, a recap of that particular video that Deontay Wilder stated, you know. So let me pick up where I left off. You know, Deontay Wilder, you know, he says that the ESPN breakdown, okay, the ESPN deal was a 4-4 fight deal, okay? And Shelly jumped in. Of course, we know what Shelly did. They turned the fight down, you know. But then he was like, you know, Wilder went on to say, well, you know, we just don't care about people throwing money. We have to sit down to see what the stipulations are, because I've been in this. He didn't even say stipulations. I'm paraphrasing. I don't even know if he uses that type of word. But he wants to know what, you know, the details are in the contract. He never is the kind of guy that just goes, oh my God, let's sign. You know, and I have to agree with him 100%. He is not a guy that signs any and every contract, especially if it's over fucking $4 million. He's not going to sign it. Something's about it. Something's not honest about it. I don't like it. I reject it. That's Deontay Wilder's mentality. So yeah, I agree. He's not going to take things like that. He's still waiting, I guess, for his shot or his opportunity for a lucrative deal. Okay. I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know when that's going to be, but he was hinting around in this interview. So let me keep going. He says, I don't wear a costume. I never put on fake persona or, you know, anything like that to show people that I'm something that I'm not. Because I'm me at the end of the day. And it's when he was saying that, the first thing I thought of was that big silver ass shredder looking Statue of Liberty glitter fucking mask he was wearing, you know, on fight night. You remember that shit? It looked like a black Statue of Liberty. You know what I mean? Like we got the Statue of Liberty from Wakanda. Fuck. You know what I mean? Instead of France. You know, I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, I mean, the other one he has, the bronze bomber, that's dope. I like that. That shit, you know, Danny Garcia has a nice one. You know what I mean? But when he switched it up wearing that shit with the damn, looked like Shredder from 1990, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell is this dude? Who the fuck is this guy? You know? So, no, I mean, but he says no costumes, no fake mask. I know that was an analogy, you know what I'm saying, for all you Wilder guys out there. But, you know, let me seriously answer that. Let me counterpunch that. I think Deontay Wilder is being himself now. I don't think Deontay Wilder was being himself when he started, or 4 or 5 years ago even. I think he was trying to play a nice guy or put on a certain image for certain people. And then I think he got tired of it. You know what I'm saying? I think at a certain point, he just broke away from trying to be what people wanted him to be. Because if you go back and you look at interviews from Tyson Fury, you know, when he had a nice little cut, not the little, you know, the fucking little dreads with the extensions and shit, not none of that shit. He had a regular haircut, okay? When he came out of the Olympics with the bronze medal, you know, that guy that's just started pro, you know, he had everything nice to say about everybody. I don't know what percentage of that person is still in Deontay Wilder, if it was even real at all. But I think that was him not being himself. But I do think this is him. You know, Deontay Wilder said he didn't need any makeups. He doesn't want any mandatories. He wants it fair, you know. Tyson Fury's no Gypsy King, he said. He needs to change his name. A lot of these people are trying to make business decisions. He's like, fuck business. He wants to see who's the best. It's about making legacy, you know. And then that's when the interviewer asked him about the $15 million offer to fight on the zone from Eddie Hearn. And then an attachment with an Anthony Joshua 60-40 split or 40-60 split. And of course he was like, man, you can't trust anything, man. You can't listen to what all the Eddie Hearn, man. You know, I don't trust Eddie Hearn, man. He lost my trust, you know. And he's like, man, this dude playing with me. I'm a man, man. He had playing with my team, man. You know what? They don't want to fight, right? So he starts with that, you know, and he goes on, and, you know, the interview was like, well, hey, and this was an LDBC guy. And was like, well, man, you think you at least go in and talk to him? And, you know, Deontay Wilder, man, you know, I don't know. You know what, man, we'll see, man. We'll see. But I'm telling you, man, Eddie Hearn full of shit, man. You know what I mean? So, then he says that, you know, the interviewer reiterated what Anthony Joshua said on the Breakfast Club and other podcasts that he was on. He was like, well, he said, hey, we got to make this fight happen. It's very much my fault that it is his fault. I think we're both at fault because the fight didn't happen. You know, what do you think to that? And he was like, well, you know, I just think, you know, we're going to fight eventually. And when he comes and it's going to happen, they know what we want. We want 50-50, you know. And until we get that, it won't be no go, you know. But we'll see, he says, you know. So I think he says, also goes to say, hey, I think they need to swallow their pride like I did. Okay, let me counterpunch that. He says they need to swallow their pride like he did. See, this is one thing I don't like. This is like someone claiming they did something and didn't do it. And I know what he's referring to. He's referring to the $15 million flat offer that he received by Eddie Hearn. He say, oh yeah, we agreed to it, but nobody signed shit. But the way he explains it, he wants people that hear this interview, he wants people to believe that he's seen this contract that was faxed over to him or whatnot, and he signed that shit and sent it back. And then Eddie Hearn decided to go fight Prevectin for the WBA mandatory all of a sudden. That's what he wants you to believe. But that ain't the fucking truth. The truth of the matter is they agreed to terms. They sent the contract over. They looked at the contract. And then they were like, you know what? Hey, no, we don't like this because this doesn't have a rematch clause for Deontay Wilder in it. That was the problem. Right? So by that time, negotiations were already going on with Prevectin, but they had enough due time. But when they start saying, hey, there's no date, no venue, they're like, fuck it, we got to do this mandatory. So you know, both people were in negotiation. He said for 4 months. So, you know, and the interviewer asked like, well, who would you want out of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua? He said Anthony Joshua, of course. He said, how disappointed were you? Were you more disappointed in Tyson Fury, or were you more disappointed in Anthony Joshua? He said Anthony Joshua because of the time that they spent trying to make these negotiations happen, you know. And he just played us, man. And, you know, he played us. So, I think he said, I don't believe shit Eddie Hearn says. I think Eddie Hearn is trying to, trying to save face in his damage control. Let me counterpunch this. Damage control, trying to save face. Who the hell does that sound like? I mean, let's think about that. What boxing channel says that shit all the time? Boxing Ego. You know, earlier in the interview, Wilder said, you know, these guys are making millions and getting big contracts on the idea of fighting the American heavyweight champ, but not really doing it or not really wanting to. Well, that sounds like 78 Sports. Because he just had an interview with 78 Sports last week when this Tyson Fury deal dropped. And that's exactly what 78 Sports said. They're just trying to make that on the strength of your name. What? Motherfucker, please. You know what I mean? The strength of your name according to who? And whose opinion? Your own? Cool. But you can't say the strength of your name like your name represents all of heavyweight boxing. Because that's bullshit. To say Deontay Wilder is the full face of heavyweight boxing is bullshit. To say if Tyson Fury is the air face of heavyweight boxing is bullshit. Same thing for Anthony Joshua. If you think Anthony Joshua is the sole face of heavyweight boxing, is bullshit. But with Anthony Joshua, he did bring an era to an end. Era that had the Klitschko's winning for a very long time. That's why people first of all, didn't like the style of Klitschko. He got booed the last time he was in fucking New York fighting at Madison Square Garden, against Brian Jennings. Okay. And before that, they booed him. So no, he's not a popular fighter. He's not a fan-friendly fighter. The motherfucker can knock you out, but his style sucks. I hate to watch his style. I always hated his style. The only fight I enjoyed Vladimir fight was the Joshua fight. Because of the size and and the equality and styles and shit. But no, I don't think that Wilder has his own voice, so to speak. I think he gets a lot of this because when the fight was over, when the interview was over, he was just shout outs to LDBC and all that, So yeah, he knows who supports him. They support him in other ways, I feel. They create narratives, they create this story. All they have to do is make people believe that shit. You know what I mean? And he says he can't wait to see Joshua. He can't wait to knock his ass out. We'll see who the real champion was and who the real champion wasn't. And I promise you that I'll knock out Anthony Joshua, he says. But I'm about passion. I'm not really about money and this, that, and the other. But come on, let's counterpunch that. You are about the money. You're a fucking prize fighter. You know what I mean? So stop trying to tell someone that's going to believe anything you say, like the interviewer that was interviewing him from the LDBC, mind you. All right. You're going to agree with him, but I guess if anybody agrees with whatever you say, you can say anything. You see what I'm going with this? It doesn't matter if, you're talking out your ass. Well, like, oh man, he's talking that dude makes a lot of sense. No, he don't. He's just talking a bunch of rubbish, a bunch of bullshit. Right? So, no. He said the UK fans are brainwashed. He said, they're brainwashed to, because Eddie Hearn, he brainwashes his fighters, or the fans rather, and make Anthony Joshua bigger than he already is. But of course, someone like Deontay with the ego he has, at times I feel that alone can deceive you. If you got a huge ego, or you're conceited, or you're arrogant, those are not good attributes. Those are like really mental disorders on how you feel about yourself and everyone around you. See, he wants to talk about swallowing pride, and I signed the 15. He didn't sign shit. That's what I'm saying. He never signed anything. You know what I mean? When they said there's no date and venue on it. Eddie Hearn if you know anything about Eddie Hearn, he hasn't done the same thing he did with Anthony Joshua that he did with Andrade. Remember Andrade was supposed to fight Billy Joe Saunders, a Frank Warren fighter, a BT Sports fighter, and then he got popped all of a sudden? What did Eddie Hearn already have in play? He had another fighter right there in play, an African fighter, an undefeated fighter. You know what I'm saying? So he had him in place already to fight Andrade. If he would have put all his eggs in one basket, they'll be looking stupid. You know what I mean? So the undercard, everyone if they cancel it, everybody's going to lose money. They can't have that. So Eddie Hearn quickly got this guy into the picture, into the ring, and successfully made a fight. You know what I'm saying? So it happens. It happens, because Billy Joe, Billy Joe couldn't, he had those allegations against him and all that. So, yeah, that's called, it's business. It's being a good promoter. You know what I mean? So as far as Wilder, he says he has some outside people that are trying to help him or whatnot. So I don't know what that's about. So he might be trying to hold out for that, So you see who's these secret investors. Because I can tell you what, it does look real bad on Team Wilder if he's the only one that doesn't get the deal. Because all that shit is a reflection on how good you are and what your value is. So he can call Tyson Fury boring. I admit, the Tyson Fury-Klitschko fight was fucking boring. It was. But even Tyson Fury admits that. So we can't sit here and say that he just has this dynamite style or whatever. Sure, they're two different styles of people. You got Deontay and you have Tyson Fury. So these guys don't fight anything alike. One goes to knock you out solely, and the other one can outbox you into next semester, right? So, but no, Deontay did say he wanted to get his mandatories out of the way, which is Dominic Breazeale. He did want to see White and Dominic Breazeale because he always wanted a piece of White because, well, White's been talking a lot of shit. And, White has been calling him out because, you've been freezing this guy out, due to whatever reason. So, but yeah, that was basically, he's going for Jarrell Miller, and he will not, and I'm going to end with this, he will not be going to the Anthony Joshua Jarrell Miller fight. And it is like this. When I heard that, I'm like, okay. Normally, if this was that interview, that LDBC dude that was doing this interview, if this would have been Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua said I wasn't coming, he would ask, well, why you ain't coming? You ain't coming. Well, why you can't come? Because, if you wanted to have interest, you should show up at the fight to make your presence known. Okay, both of these motherfuckers are not coming. Deontay Wilder says, he owes him. You can come into the ring with you, you know what I mean? Well, no, both of you motherfuckers started not going. Deontay was first. Deontay wasn't going, and then when Deontay was booked to fight Fury on that day, Anthony Joshua wasn't going. He wasn't going, he's going to get some sleep. So he gave a fuck who really won, honestly. He was in his own world doing his own thing, But since these fights are not happening, no one's going to each other's events promoting that particular fight. So that's a lot of, those could be so many opportunities at that point. But, we should see. But it doesn't make it look any better, just like some vicious cycle shit. You don't go to my fight, I don't go to yours. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff. So that's what I look at when I think of that. But yeah, I think Deontay Wilder, talking about the things that he discussed in this video, I believe that Deontay Wilder is just waiting until his profile or his money gets so big or so good enough that he'd have to take it. So, it was very informative. He's going for Jarrell Miller from a fellow American. He does not like Jarrell Miller for obvious reasons, but that's who he's going for. So, but yeah, besides that, that pretty much wraps it up with this interview. He'll still have the May 18th date. More than likely, he'll fight Dominic Breazeale. That should be a slugfest, a heart-filled, emotional fight, So, but anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this volume 2 of Deontay Wilder discussing Eddie Hearn, in the $15 million offer. Of course, please subscribe, guys. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace. Oh.